Some fish are legendary, some are sacred, and some will test everything you've got. Across North America, indigenous tribes have fished these waters for centuries, carving traditions, ceremonies, and survival from every catch. Now, we travel deep into their ancestral homelands to uncover stories behind the fish that shape their cultures, and catch some absolute giants along the way. From the raging rivers of the Pacific Northwest to the untouched lakes of the Great Plains, we're hooking into monsters that fed generations and diving headfirst into the traditions that keep them alive today. I'm Robert Jacobo, and this is Indigefish, Tribal Tales. Are you ready to chase something big?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Indigefish. I'm your host, Robert Jacobo, and today you're coming along with me on a journey. We are going to the Point Vicente Interpretive Center, which is right behind me. But look at this beautiful view that we have over here. We got Catalina over there in the background. We got the vastness of the Pacific Ocean over here. And we are going to be able to go into this interpretive center and check out some of the exhibits that they have. One very important exhibit that we have here at the Point Vicente Interpretive Center is the one of the Tongva people, the people of the earth. And so we want to get in there and check it out because I've seen it before, and it's a great way that they pay homage to the people that had this landscape before. And the story is of these people being able to come in and make this landscape their home, being able to come in and master the elements, master the tides, and master the ability to create this place and make it their home. So if anything, guys, join me along on this journey. It's a wild ride and I really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get in the Point Vicente Interpretive Center and get going. I'll see you soon. All right, guys, so this is amazing because I'm here, I'm getting to learn more about the Palos Verdes area, more about the Redondo Beach area, right? And all of these hills and cliffs. And this area used to be inhabited by the Tongva people, the people of the earth. And they used to be expert fishermen going after things from, the abalone shells and the different clams to things like whales. And so it's so amazing to be able to see that indigenous roots really took place here in Palos Verdes, in the Los Angeles area, because of the fact that, so many times things like this are forgotten, right? And so getting to come here to a museum like this, we get to see the artifacts, we get to see all the different shells and all the different arrowheads and the things that were used as far as tools on a daily basis that help these people to really take down these massive animals in a very respectful manner, in a way that was going to be contributing to their tribe and to their tribal success, to their economies. And so it's just really awesome to be able to see that they had these opportunities to really create something amazing for themselves in such a primitive time, right? And we think of it as primitive only because of the fact that we have these things like iPhones and buildings and all these vast forms of communication, social media, and all this different stuff. But the real thing is that they had their own economies, they had their own traditions, their own culture, and they had the ability to live in environments such as this. I mean, the Palos Verdes cliffs are no joke, right? These things, they're sheer hundreds of feet down. So to be able to inhabit this area, you really had to know the land, you really had to know what you were working with, and being able to see like the different tools and stuff that people hunted with when technology started to really grow, right? You had the metal work and stuff like that coming with the harpoons and stuff. Now, this wasn't Tongva necessarily, but these were inspired by these tribes and stuff as far as what they could do. So we're gonna get back to it some more, but this is very, very informative stuff. All right, guys, so I'm out here at the Point Vicente Interpretive Center, and they actually host a small museum within the Interpretive Center themselves. And actually, it's got a lot of cool exhibits in there, from restored whaling ships to the different bones of animals, fossils such as whale fossils, You got shark fossils, right? The different shark teeth that are in there. But one big thing that I actually really saw that was really interesting and brings it back to the root of Indigefish is actually the root of this area, which was the Tongva people, the people of the earth. And it was so cool to be able to see the exhibit. And I am gonna go ahead and show you guys inside in just a minute. But the great thing about it is that it kind of paid homage, right? It paid homage to the roots of the Tongva people, and being able to see this vast ocean as such a critical resource to the Tongva people and the people in the area in general, right? It really helped to sustain an economy. It helped to sustain the people. It helped to sustain the villages that were here. And so what's really interesting is that these people lived off this ocean. There's whales. I mean, we just went inside and we went ahead and checked it out. And there were roughly about 610 gray whales that had passed throughout the early part of the summer. And now they're back in Alaska. But, you know, that just goes to show that there's a massive amount of quantity of food and resource that's coming from this area, because not only do they use it for food, right? Whales for food, but also too a various amount of tools, you know, different things for, you know, cutting or creating needles for stitching or anything like that. You have a vast amount of things that you can use these things for. And so what's really remarkable is that these people got to operate on these sheer cliffs. I mean, I'm looking at these cliffs right now, and it's roughly about 100-foot drop, if not more, to the very bottom. And to make a living here, it definitely seems very rough, right? You have a lot of rocky surfaces, you have a lot of kelp and stuff that's in the area. So, you know, fishing in kelp is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but, you know, going out on that vast ocean where, you know, a vast amount of things could go wrong, and to create an environment where you're able to actually care for people and actually sustain villages and sustain life, it just goes to show that the Tongva people were extremely serious about being here, and they're extremely serious about you know, sustaining their culture for as long as they could. And it wasn't until later on, when settlers started to move in this area, to where they finally got pushed out and pushed away from their homelands. But it brings it back to the root of Indigefish, because what I'm really aiming to do with Indigefish is really connect back with culture, right? And to understand, because to become a good fisherman, you have to not only understand, you know, how to catch a fish, what hooks to use, you know, and different things like that, but you really have to understand, you know, what the importance is of these fish. Sure, we do a lot of things like catch and release, right? But these people weren't just catching and releasing, they were catching, consuming, and not only consuming for sustenance and calories or anything like that, but they were consuming the entire animal for tools and vast amounts of other uses. And so to be able to be here and to be able to see that exhibit showcased here at the Point Vicente Interpretive Center was definitely a great thing to be able to see, great homage that was paid back to those people. And what a remarkable sight. I mean, we're looking at Catalina right now in the distance, and, you know, we're looking at all the different things that are going on. We have dolphins, we have different fish that are approaching the surface, and you can see all of that that's going on. And to actually create a life here in such a beautiful landscape, beautiful, but also a very hostile landscape. I mean, just the nature itself of this landscape it doesn't appear to be the easiest thing to work with. And to see that those people were able to do that is amazing. So with Indigefish in mind, you know, the thing is that we want to do is we want to always be able to reconnect, because to really become that good fisherman, you have to be able to reconnect with nature, right? We have to be able to understand the animals, to be able to understand their different patterns. And that's what the Tongva people did. They understood the patterns that went along here, understanding the currents, understanding the different temperatures throughout the seasons. So that way they knew, you know, what they had to store for and what they had to be able to endure throughout the months that maybe it wasn't as plentiful, right? But the thing is that they stuck it out as long as they could, and they made this place their home. And so coming back to the ocean and coming back to Indigefish and being able to really reconnect with nature in a way that allows me to understand what I'm fishing for. Because it's not always about sports fishing. Sure, that's great. I love it. I love being able to catch the big sharks or the big fish or anything like that, right? But to be able to reconnect with nature, be able to reconnect on a cultural basis was amazing. And in that interpretive center, we had things as far as, showcasing what the people may have looked like, and just kind of an interactive family sense, and being able to interact with that home life, being able to see all the different tools that they had used, from arrowheads to hooks to the boats that they used as well to be able to go out into this vast ocean, right, is just amazing. And so I'd like to say thank you to the Point Vicente Interpretive Center for being able to showcase that and being able to allow people to go in there for free, by the way, to go in there and be able to understand that this land, although inhabited by millions of people now, was inhabited by a tribe that cared for the landscape the way that they did. So if anything, guys, this has been an incredible pit stop in our journey. And so we're gonna get back out there today. We got high tide coming up about 3 o'clock, 3:30. And so we're gonna get out there and see if we can't wrangle in some more. But ultimately, we always wanna remember to go ahead and pay respects back to that landscape and pay respects back to the ocean, to the fish, and to the animals that we catch along the way, because they're not just there to be exploited in a way that is just for consumer gain, but rather in a way to gain comprehension and understanding. So, all right, guys. Well, anyways, thank you for joining me today. Take care.